Hey, welcome back. Today, I have a new amp. I had a fancier amp. I had a Morgan MVP23. You've heard that in most of the videos I've done so far. And in some people's eyes, I've traded down. This is a lowly Marshall DSL40. But it sounds good. Warren Hewart, I think it was, said, if it sounds good, it is good, if you've watched any of his videos. And here we have, case in point, the Marshall DSL40CR. It's got reverb, it's got 2 master volumes, it's got essentially 4 channels. So if we bring it in over here, we've got the left side and we've got the right side. We've got 2 sounds on each channel. So over here, we've got the green sound, which is just super clean. You can get it to be just a little bit broken up if you crank the gain. You go to the red sound there, and it's kind of crunchy, kind of plexi-ish. OD2, you've got a really cool, like the step above the crunch from the red channel here. And then the red channel on the overdrive sound is just all the way. And even that sounds really good. I used to think these were too fizzy, too gainy, but even that red sounds really usable. As we move over, you got a 3-band EQ. It's universal for all channels. We've got reverb. We've got resonance and presence over here as well. And you've got 2 master volumes. So you could kind of, if you've got the right foot switch with this, you could switch between the 2 masters and have a little bit of a lead boost if you wanted to. Pretty cool. You got a low and high power setting on here. I haven't taken this out of low yet, and I don't know that I'll need to. Haven't played with it with a band yet, but we're going to find out. I had a Morgan MVP23, and it was a great amp. I remember the first time I played one, it was kind of like, I have to have one of these. I might get one again at some point. But the thing I noticed about that amp is it didn't get bright. It was almost like a filter, like a low-pass filter on that amp. There was no way, even if you cranked the treble on it, it still didn't get super bright. And the Marshall that I've got, the DSL40CR, can do the same thing that the Morgan did really well. So the Morgan, as a plexi type thing, as kind of a crunchy thing, was just so good. And the Marshall can do that. However, the Marshall can get bright like the Morgan couldn't really do. And the Marshall's got channels. The Morgan was a single channel amp. This is a 4-channel amp. At least a 2-channel amp. I think as I'm going to use it, it's more of a 2-channel amp. I'm planning on the crunchy channel, that being my cleanish sound, and then setting up the overdrive to be the overdrive sound. The thing I've noticed, though, is just that added brightness. It's almost like I'm playing different guitars. These guitars that I've gotten so used to playing through the Morgan, it's like, oh wow, there's this extra level of high end to these guitars that I'm not used to contending with. are a couple of reasons I decided to get rid of the Morgan in lieu of the Marshall. One is versatility. The Morgan had one sound that I really liked it for, and it did that sound great. You've heard that sound on a bunch of my videos so far. Kind of heavy crunch, I would call it. Not into like a lead territory as far as distortion goes, but it's distorted and it's a really good crunch sound. Kind of plexi-ish. If I'm not mistaken, the circuit in that amp is something like a blues breaker. I loved the cream back in it. It all just came together for this beautiful crunch. But trying to get it to go past that as far as gain goes, it would kind of flub up a little bit. You could boost the front end of it, which I would do often. But at the end of the day, it still felt like the same sound. And you couldn't get super clean with it. If you got below a certain level on the gain, it almost wasn't loud enough. And I started thinking, well, I want something where I at least have two sounds. And I want something where I can have more gain. I'm playing with a band right now. We're playing kind of heavy alternative, down-tuned, stuff like that. And I thought, well, maybe the Marshall is the perfect pick. And it's everywhere. You can find these amps. Go into any Guitar Center and they're there. Another reason is the tone itself. The Morgan, like I said, sounded beautiful, but there was almost a low-pass filter. You get to about 5K or something like that, and there's just a certain brightness the Morgan couldn't produce. Even if you crank the treble, crank the mid knob, there's a certain treble that just wasn't in the sound. The Marshall has that treble in the sound, and it can be dialed out via either the presence or the treble knob. It can be really bright, or you can dial it back. I can get it to sound like the Morgan sounded, but I can also get it to sound like an 800, or almost into Mesa territory if we go on the red channel on the overdrive side. It's a cool amp. It sounds good. It's versatile. It seems like some people, there's some level of tone snobbery, as there always is with everything, that, well, it's not a real Marshall. It's not hand-wired, which it's not hand-wired. That's right. But it just sounds good. And at the end of the day, that's what we're after with an amp, with a guitar. Obviously, if I went and spent $4,000 or whatever a Soldano SLO costs, or a Mark V or something like that, there's more features I'm going to get, and it's going to be higher build quality. Maybe that's going to translate to the sound being better. But for $730, the Marshall, it's a pretty darn good amp. We've got two EL34s. We've got four ECC83s. You might know an ECC83 as a 12AX7. However, Marshall knows that you're wrong. But we've got four 12AX7s, two EL34s. You've got a speaker in there. A lot of people talk about swapping out the speaker. Maybe I'll swap out the speaker. Maybe it'll get a V30, a greenback, a creamback. But for the time being, the speaker that's in the amp is pretty proficient. It sounds pretty good. I don't feel the need to swap it out immediately. I would be interested to hear how a creamback sounds in this. Maybe this amp ends up being a backup for something else that I use to gig with, to do band practice with.